Thanks for joining us. Today, Kasey Metzger and I are going to walk through how we're helping on-premise organizations like yours move from Dynamics GP to Dynamics 365 Business Central in the cloud. I'm Tom Wisniewski, a product marketing manager at Microsoft. If you haven't noticed, we're in sort of a technological revolution at the moment, driven by changing consumer demand and behavior alongside global supply chain pressures, and with organizations being asked to continually adopt new business models that meet changing market conditions. As a result, most are realizing that their current on-premise ERP solution isn't equipped to support them through these changes or beyond. So those seeking to bolster resiliency now look to the cloud because it enables an organization to consolidate and analyze their data to make better business decisions. Within small and mid-sized organizations, Dynamics 365 Business Central is really the preferred business management solution for thousands of customers because it connects finance, sales, and operations teams, integrating their siloed data in actionable ways so that you can gain insights on the flow of business, make profitable financial decisions, deliver on promised consumer outcomes, ensure smooth sales to service transitions, and ultimately respond to business needs quickly. In doing so, the benefits are clear. Organizations that migrate to Dynamics Business Central typically see an average of 162% return on that investment, a 10% increase in their operation productivity, all within less than a year. So that's why Microsoft is investing in programs and technologies that help you understand the value of migration, what it would mean to actually move to the cloud, and then how to do that quickly and efficiently. So now I'll pass it to Kasey, and she'll walk us through some of these technologies.
Thanks, Thomas. As Thomas mentioned, my name is Kasey Metzger, and I'm a product leader at Enavate. And today I want to talk to you about two great tools that you can leverage as you start planning your move to the cloud and Business Central. The first tool is a GP to BC assessment tool that the Enavate team has built that is available to all partners and customers. The assessment tool is that great first step in helping you evaluate what your move to Business Central will look like. The tool was designed with three main tenets. We wanted to ensure that it was super easy to use, it was fast and non-intrusive, and finally, we wanted to make sure it was free and available to everyone. We had originally created the tool a little over a year ago and found great success with it internally. The tool gave us great insight into our customers, what they were using in GP, and things we needed to account for to their move to Business Central. And it surfaced up potential issues very early on in the process, allowing for us to account and address those much faster and more cost-effective than before. And by using the tool, we were no longer asking our customers to fill out lengthy surveys, having multiple meetings, digging into details. We've been able to save our customers time and money by using the assessment tool. As I mentioned before, there's no cost to use the tool. You need to simply sign up with an email, download and run the tool. I'll walk you through running the tool, but it should really take us no more than 5 minutes to sign up, run the tool, and view your results. Also, the great thing about the tool is it's lightweight. You don't need to schedule it during the evenings or weekends. It can be run during the day while you have users logged in at GP. Tool also doesn't require a Business Central license to run. We at Enavate use the tool very early on in our discussions with customers as they think about their GP system and what moving to Business Central might look like. The tool also only reads data from your GP SQL server. Nothing is ever written to the server after the tool is run. The assessment tool will help provide insight into what modules and features are being used in GP, not what's just installed. We know many times GP installs many things out of the box, but that's not necessarily what is being used. In addition to the features and modules used, it'll also look to see what ISV solutions are installed. It will detect migration issues up front, so you know what they are ahead of time and can resolve them before migrating. It'll also help with assessing the complexity or ease of migration and migration options depending on what's being used in GP. With that, I'll take you through a few steps of the tool just so you can see how simple and fast it is to use. The first item you need to do when using the tool is to come out to the sign up form. This is where you can fill in a few key pieces of information. The main one is entering in the email address. That email address will be what is used to log in to use the tool. Once you go ahead and fill out the information and hit submit, you receive an email where you can log in and download the tool. So the first thing you need to do when you open up the tool is copy and paste in the token that you were given. On the next screen, you'll need to simply enter in the username and password that has just that read access to your SQL server. So I'll go ahead and use my SA user. Once you've entered that in, you can connect the tool to your system and it should read the companies that you have installed. If you have a lot of different test companies in GP and don't want to bring those forward to Business Central, you could certainly come in and unmark those if you don't want them assessed. Once you've gone ahead and selected the companies you want to assess, we do recommend that you browse out to your Dynamics set file. What that will allow the tool to do is to see what ISV solutions you have installed. If you can't browse out or not sure where that is, you can certainly continue to use the tool without selecting a set file. Then you simply need to run the assessment. You'll see that the tool is running as we're talking, and it's super fast. And one of the main questions we get from customers is, can I see the data before it's being sent? And you certainly can. Once the tool is done, you can see all the data that is being pulled in as part of the tool. So here you can see the data that's being pulled in, and let me flip to one of the companies. But you can see the tool is pulling in just setup information and metadata. It's not pulling in account numbers, balances, lists of customers, lists of vendors. So you can preview all of the information that is gathered in the tool before sending it. And that's it. Now you can click send the results. You'll receive a message once the information has been uploaded. Once the information has been analyzed and your report is created, you'll go ahead and receive an email where you can go out and view the report. So I'm going to go ahead and I can see my results have been successfully uploaded. So let me jump over and I want to show you a quick preview of what that report will look like. So once you get your assessment report, if you remembered I talked about it, it will show you risks or issues that could show up if you were doing a migration to Business Central. So you can drill into those risks to see more detail about that information. With each one of the items that have been identified, you can drill into more detail where the tool will help you understand why that information isn't being migrated over, and it will tell you how many records. Now, if you remember, the tool doesn't pull your customer list, your GL account numbers or balances, so the tool can't tell you specifically which customers have those, but we have provided a SQL script where you can copy and paste this into SQL, and then that's where you can see the records that are having the issues, and then you can go ahead and make updates to those in your GP system before running the migration. Now, the tool does check many more things. This list is filtered by default just so that you can see what is found. But if I remove the filter, you can see all the different risks and issues that the tool is looking for in the system. So it's quite comprehensive in what it's looking for in the GP system. If we go back to the dashboard, I did mention if you look out at your set file, it will show the additional products or the ISV solutions that are installed. So this is where you can get an understanding of what ISV solutions you've installed. You can work with your partner. As a partner, you can work with your customers to discuss what apps in the app source that they may need for Business Central. So in addition to the ISV solutions, it will also show, I mentioned, the features that are being used within Business Central or in GP, as well as the modules. So with each one of the modules that are being used, it'll let you know with the indicator if it's automatically going to be migrated over as part of the migration tool. And it's got a link out to that documentation. It'll also let you know if that data isn't going to be migrated with a migration tool, but there are certainly other options available to you. And I'd suggest that you work with your partner and talk about the other options, whether it's config packages, web services, to bring that information over. So the tool, again, will show you what's being used, not just what's installed, but what's being used for features and modules. It will also show you your GP information, so how many customer or how many companies are part of your GP system and what versions are being used in GP and SQL Server. Where that can come into play is the migration tool work with certain versions of SQL Server and GP information. So it will be highlighted if you are on an older version of GP or SQL Server. It will let you know that in the risks area, as well as what we call the carousel, the news carousel. And that's where you can have conversations about, do you want to upgrade your SQL Server, before moving to Business Central, or look at other alternatives to bring that information over to Business Central. In addition to all the information on the dashboard that you can drill into, if you remember, there's a lot more information that the tool did pull. So all of that information can be accessed within the report. So you can drill in and see all of that information here. Now, it may be easier to analyze this information in Excel. So with each one of these reports, you can go ahead and export this information out to Excel, just making it easier to find information and doing additional analysis. Finally, you're going to want to remember to share this report out. If you're running it as a customer, your partner won't automatically get access to the report. So you want to share that report out with your partner, or if you want to share it out with other people in your organization, you need to simply click on the share button and it will create a share link, and then you can share this information out with your customers. So you can see it was a really fast and simple process, but giving you a lot of detailed information about your GP system, helping you have that conversation about moving to Business Central. So with that is the assessment tool. If we drive back in, I did mention I wanted to talk about 2 different tools that are available for you. So the second tool I want to talk about is the migration tool. So the migration tool is, if you think about it, that's actually moving the data from your GP on-prem system into your Business Central tenant. And what that will do is it's part of your BC solution. So you will need your Business Central license and tenant spun up, but it is a free tool available in Business Central to migrate that data. So the first step of the tool is really a setup wizard. And what this is doing is it's creating that secure pipeline between your on-prem system and your BC system. So it's using the Azure Data Factory and the integration runtime to move that data. And again, none of that data is stored in the pipeline. It is moved securely up there, but nothing is stored in that pipeline. One thing I did want to call out is Microsoft Grid made a great enhancement earlier this year, allowing delegated admins to run the migration wizard. Previously, as a partner, you needed to have a named user license assigned in your customer's Business Central tenant. But now with some new changes, that delegated admin can now run the migration wizard. With the wizard, once you go through the setup process, then you do jump over to the migration management page. And this is where the actual migration will occur. And there's kind of a 2-step process. The first is running that migration where it will move the data from the GP tables up to staging tables. And then the second step is where it moves that information from staging tables, it transforms it and moves it into the permanent BC tables. Because as you can imagine, the data structures and schemas are different between the 2 applications. So that second process is where it transforms that and moves it into those permanent or native BC tables. Once all the data is over, we recommend that you verify the results. You can do your reconciliation between them. And then you want to disable the cloud migration. That's what removes that pipeline. We do recommend that you run that the diagnostic run first. That will notify you of any potential issues before you run the migration. Now, if you use the assessment tool, many of those things should have been found in the assessment tool. So the chances of something showing up in your diagnostic run should be very small, because they should have all been brought up in the assessment tool. And hopefully you've been able to fix any of those issues before actually getting to this step. So once it's migrated, many times people ask, well, what data is actually migrated as part of the migration tool? So the migration tool is quite comprehensive, and I encourage you, the migration tool did come out about 4 years ago, and if you haven't taken a look at it in a while, I'd encourage you to go back out. Microsoft's made a lot of investments in enhancing the tool this last year, so they've really expanded the scope of what is being included in the tool. But it will bring over those GL accounts from GP. So it will look at the main segment, and those will come over as your chart of accounts. Business Central, since it doesn't use that segmented chart of accounts, it uses a main account and dimensions. It will still bring those segments over, but it will bring those over as dimensions. And as part of the migration tool, you can pick which ones you want to be global dimensions, and then the rest will come over as shortcut dimensions. You can see it brings over many pieces of information. It'll bring over your bank accounts and reconciled transactions. It will bring over your customers and vendors and your open transactions for each one of those. In the inventory area, it will bring over your items. It will bring over those warehouses, which are locations in Business Central. and bring over the quantities and place them in the appropriate locations that they were over in your GP system. And then if you do track serial and lot information on your items, it will also bring that over. So in addition to all of that information, it does also bring over supporting data. So if you're tracking salespeople in the GP, it'll bring that over, your payment terms, shipping methods. Many times we get questions. Customers obviously have multiple ship to addresses. They may have remit to addresses. All of that information will also come over to Business Central, as well as banking information. And then if you do use the tool, you can see that historical data from GP in extension tables in BC. So if you go, for example, to your customer list, there is a drop down where you can be able to go in and see historical information. So if you do use sales order processing, you can go in and see header and line information from GP as well in those extension tables. So I did talk about the enhancements Microsoft's been making. So you can see there's been a lot of enhancements so far to the tool this year. We got feedback that people wanted to not include inactive checkbooks. There's already an option to not bring over inactive vendors and customers. So we've augmented that, allowing you not to bring over inactive checkbooks. We're bringing over unreconciled bank transactions that previously wasn't there. We got good feedback that people like those GP lists in BC, but they wanted more information, so we've added more columns. We're bringing over accounting periods. And then with the release that is coming out next week with Business Central, the September release or the 20.5 release, you will see the option to bring over the class account. So if you do use classes, vendor classes, item classes, customer classes, and have accounts associated with those, you can choose if you want those migrated over to Business Central, and they'll come over as posting groups and then will be assigned to those customers. And the great thing with that too is you can also filter reports on those posting groups. I know a lot of our customers really like that class concept, so you can certainly continue to use that information in Business Central. We're also going to give you the ability to limit the number of years that you want to bring over to BC. Many GP customers have 10, 15 years of GL history out there, and they don't want to bring all that information over to Business Central. So you'll be able to put in the year that you want to bring, and it will bring that year and anything forward over to Business Central. So giving you more control. And then I think you'll see as we continue to enhance the tool, there'll be more configuration options adding there, letting customers pick and choose the pieces that they want to migrate over. So a new configuration page is being added as part of the wizard, letting you make some global options and then letting you pick and choose per company. And as part of that, the tool will also let you pick which modules you want to bring over. So maybe you want to bring over your GL and AR information, but you don't want to bring over AP information for GP. So again, you'll be able to make more of those a la carte options there. And I think you'll continue to see the tool enhanced, where it will give you more options to choose what to migrate, as well as enhancing the breadth of information that is being brought over to BC from GP. So I'd encourage you, if you haven't taken a look at the tool in a while, go out and do it. You can certainly look at the release notes out there. Those are continually being updated, as well as the documentation. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Thomas for additional resources that are available to you.
Thanks, Kasey. So we just quickly wanted to highlight some of the customer and partner resources that we have made available to you when you're, in this process of considering what is our next move and how do we get from our current state on GP to Business Central in the cloud. So first, if you're not aware, we have this great playlist out on YouTube on just that, how to move from GP to BC. So I'd recommend starting there. Then follow that up with a guided tour of the Business Central solution itself, followed by the docs pages and various Business Central courses that we have available to you. And then additionally, right, since we have both customer and partner tools, with the tool being free, quick, simple, as Kasey just showed us, if you don't believe your eyes in this presentation, we do have a demo of the tool that you can go as a customer go and check out. And then on the partner side of things, we have a number of resources available to you that talk about the value proposition of moving from GP to BC, but then also, the customer benefits, FAQs, and just essential, the necessary toolkit that you'll need to help your customers think through the common considerations when moving from on-premise to the cloud. And then finally, if you take anything from this presentation, right, it's never too early to start your migration journey. So please start now if you haven't already. Leverage these resources that we just sort of ran through here very quickly, but we will be adding to them, throughout the year. So, do check back on, for updated materials as they come out. And finally, I would just recommend running the tool for your organization or your customers. It will help you further your cloud strategy, but then also, really think through your GP to BC roadmap. Well, thanks so much for joining me today, Kasey, and talking about how we can help our GP customers migrate to the cloud.
Thanks, Thomas. Always a pleasure to be here and talk about the tools that are available to us. As a reminder, go out and check out that assessment tool as your first step to the cloud.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Thank you.